The toad that broke Australia. Some of these titles that you guys send me for these videos to react to, I'm always like, what? The toad that broke Australia? Like, what is that? This one's coming from More Pars. The message in this recommendation was pretty short. All it said was that this is not a native animal to Australia, but it can mess up ecosystems. I have no idea what I'm in store for. I watched about 3 seconds of it just to see what it was, and seems like I might be a little funny. So I'm all here for it. Smash like button and let's dive in.
Australia is home to some of the deadliest animals on the planet. But what if I told you there's one creature they all fear? An invasive species, millions strong, wiping out native animals that we are locked in combat with to this very day. What kind of vile beast is capable of spreading such reckless hate? The answer is this fat fucking toad. But how did this war begin?
Is this like we have pigs, like wild boars in Texas, that you can literally go shoot out of a helicopter with a machine gun because there are so many of them that they're overrunning and destroying the ecosystem? People go out and hunt them all the time. I'm assuming that's something similar here. Let's see what we got going on.
Well, to answer your question, we're going to have to go way back. The year is 1866. We are in the land down under, and our story begins the same way many tragedies do, with the British. You see, having gone hippity-hoppity, your ancestral home is now my property around 90 years back, the Brits were in full swing, rampantly colonising the country. And part of that included agriculture. Now, they brought with them many crops, but the important one in this story is sugarcane. Sugar was valued, not only for trade, but also because, well, the fucking tea isn't going to sweeten itself, is it? But you see, sugar...
Diabetes. I'm pretty sure that don't they use sugar in bombs as well? I think it's a fact that I learned the other day. I could be completely wrong, but I think so.
It only grows in the heat, which ruled out the south of the country. It also likes humid environments, which ruled out Western Australia, which left them with one option. And so, the cane farmers loaded up their first Ste G Valley save in Queensland in 1866. But the farmers ran into an issue. You see, Queensland is home to these nifty little bugs called Dermalopida albahertum. These are native beetles that hit their macros by munching on plant leaves. So when cane farmers joined the Queensland Minecraft server and set up a f***ing Hermitcraft-sized farm, the beetles were in heaven and set to work demolishing the plant leaves. Now, funnily enough, the adult bugs weren't actually the problem. Sugarcane leaves hold all value. But the problem is that with such an abundant food source, the bugs started multiplying, laying their eggs around the base of the plants. These eggs hatched into larvae. And unlike the grown-ups, these little worms don't eat the leaves. They eat the roots. And so the sugarcane starts getting absolutely fucking spit roasted, and the farmers can do nothing but watch as sugarcane yield plummets through the floor along with their profits. This whole situation really pissed off the farmers, who banded together, went to the Australian government, and told them to fucking fix it. Sir, a horde of creatures is destroying the cane fields. And so, the Queensland government founded the Bureau of Sugar Experimentation Stations, or the BSES, in 1900. This team of crack scientists then immediately set out trying to solve the very same issue every single Factorio player faces. This place is covered in bugs. They are breaking my shit. How do I violently slaughter the local wildlife in order to expand capitalism and my profit margins? The BSES pondered this question for 25 fucking years. They tried spraying chemical insecticides. Didn't work. They tried injecting insecticides into the soil. Didn't work.
Probably not a good idea. What are they, like American? Injecting pesticides into their crops?
They tried releasing the fucking cordyceps fungus, and it still didn't work. Then, one day in the office, while pondering this question, someone had an idea. Okay, we are getting outmaneuvered by the cast of Bugs Life. Someone in this office, please give me anything. What about cane toads? What? Cane toads. Those big fucking fat things that exist in the cane fields in Hawaii. I mean, it's a frog. They eat bugs. We just introduced...
I'm trying to think of how these toads are screwing up the ecosystem for other animals.
Use an invasive species
just have to wait
to fix a problem caused by an invasive species. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? And so, in June of 1936, 2,400 brave cane divers were deployed to the fields to deal with the arthropod menace. But there's just one small issue. Cane toads were fucking dog shit. Yeah, funnily enough, big, fat, slow, ground-dwelling toads were not exactly the smartest solution to deal with beetles that spend the majority of their adult life 6 meters off the fucking ground. On top of that, cane toads don't dig for food either, so they didn't eat the larvae. Now, this all sounds like information that should have come up during the research and study phase of the plan. This, however, implies that there was a research and study phase. The BSES did not conduct a single fucking study on environmental impact before releasing an army of cane toads. Are you fuck? This complete absence of brain cells caused a rather spectacular domino effect of ecological fuck-ups, and is going to teach you a valuable lesson about invasive species. You see, while the cane toads barely ate what they were supposed to, they did eat. And as incredibly large omnivorous toads, they ate practically anything they could fit into their mouths. Rats, mice, lizards, snails, baby birds.
Really?
It was the toad equivalent of f***ing Kirby.
Dude, these fucking toads are ugly as shit.
And then, not unlike the exact problem they were brought here to solve, with all that food, they started reproducing. A lot. In fact, female cane toads can lay anywhere between 8,000 to 30,000 fucking eggs per clutch. But I mean, this should not be too much of a problem. Australia is home to some of the deadliest creatures on the planet. Surely, the local wildlife has this under control. Wait, what? Cane toads are poisonous. So those little bulges on the shoulder, and those are parotid glands, and they are packed to the brim with bufotoxin. No,
Isn't that what you get high off of? Bufo? Like, people do that, right? That's the toad. I've heard of this before.
It's not a D's nuts joke. Got him! Now, whenever the adult toads are threatened, they will squirt this white, sticky fluid out of the glands.
Ugh.
When tested, it does two things. One, makes you trip absolute balls thanks to the hallucinogenic bufotenin. And two, the other ingredient, bufogen, just straight up gives you a fucking heart attack.
Oh, God.
It's important to note that this toxin is also present in their eggs and tadpoles. Now, in their natural habitat, this isn't as much of a problem because everything around them has had thousands of years to get good and deal with this fuck-ass poison build by either developing immunity or learning to eat around the glands. But Australia is not their ecosystem. And despite all of the deadly animals we've got, they have had a grand total of 5 minutes to adapt to the presence of the fucking Caled toad. Now, quick question for the class. What happens to an animal population when there is nothing to eat it? It gets bigger. And so, shortly after being introduced, a rapidly expanding tyrannid swarm of toads began to spread across the
Holy
country.
shit.
The BSES noticed this and did
nothing.
nothing. Because it technically
How'd I
didn't
know?
affect the sugar cane. The swarm spread further, occupying all inhabitable.
Wait, we totally glossed over. How did they fix the sugarcane issue? Because these things couldn't eat the beetles, right?
Parts of Queensland, and they were laying so many fucking eggs that their clutches began polluting the waterways like a bufotoxin teabag, killing native fish as well as any
Oh my
animals that
gosh.
drank from the water. The BSES did nothing. Those eggs hatched into tadpoles, which started killing more fish. The BSES still
This is like
did
a
nothing.
serious problem.
The swarm advanced, breaching into the Northern Territory and New South Wales. When questioned, the BSES insisted the toads were doing their jobs and everything was fine. By the 1980s, the toads were now starving out or just fucking eating local wildlife and one-shotting anything that tried to eat them. And considering,
Oh
at this
my
point,
God.
there were 5 fucking million of them, that happened a lot. So, with local wildlife being absolutely fucking decimated, the BSES was forced to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe,
Listen,
We fucked up.
we fucked up.
but, oh well, everyone makes mistakes, nothing we can do about it. No, they left it for the government to clean up. Sir, a second horde of creatures has escaped the cane field. Fuck! Yeah, they realised just how much damage was being done and in 1986 began funneling federal funds into controlling the population. They tried trapping and physically removing the toads, but unless they had 5 million traps, that wasn't going to do shit. Biological warfare was proposed in the form of releasing
What do you need? You need like another predator, right? One of their natural predators.
viruses and parasites, but was shot down because it would do just as much damage to the native wildlife. And so, the toad front continues to advance to this day. So where does that
Really?
leave us? Short answer is kind of fucked. Cane toads now threaten a total of 75 native species, and they've even driven populations of animals like the northern quoll to complete extinction in parts of the country they infest. And
What?
with the population now sitting at 200 fucking million toads, that infestation is spreading, with predictions showing they will be fucking up ecosystems in 5 states in the near future. And given
Oh
that
my
they have
God,
amassed a
this is
population
crazy.
10 times the size of the humans in Australia, the government has completely fucking abandoned the fight for eradication, switching focus to harm reduction, using bait toads covered in non-lethal but unpleasant substances to try to teach local wildlife that toad bad. On top of this, the government has encouraged the broader public to, just fucking kill the toads. You are supposed to do it humanely by catching them and sticking them in a freezer for 48 hours, but,
How is that humanely? What?
most people don't want a frog taking up their freezer space, so they just use a fucking golf club or a car.
Driving in my car right after
And with this being Australia, our wildlife is also putting up a fight. Keelback snakes, for example, are immune to their venom, and Ricali and magpies have learned to flip them onto their backs before getting a feed. Now, jokes aside,
Okay.
you want to know who I feel genuinely f***ing awful for? The toads. They didn't ask for any of this shit. They just got dumped onto a random island and did their thing, and now they are being actively hunted. No. The assholes in this story are the BSES and the cane growers. Because you may be thinking, why were they allowed to do this shit in the first place? Well, that's the neat part. They weren't. The federal government banned the f***ing idea when they came up for it in 1935, based on the advice of entomologists who rightly presumed
Dude,
that
this is
toads
stupid.
would become a bigger f***ing issue than the beetles. But the BSES and the cane growers lobbied to have the ban lifted in 1936. We are stuck in permanent toad combat because these dickheads looked at scientific advice and went, nah.
God,
You have
this is so
got
fucked.
to be fucked. G'day.
Holy
Merry
shit.
Christmas.
That was one of the most interesting videos that I've seen in a while, especially in the animal category. That was crazy. I'm trying to think of like how you get like obviously there's dozens of probably hundreds of people trying to figure this out. Yeah, you don't want to insert like a predator of theirs because then you have another invasive species in the country, which doesn't make any sense. God, dude. I think like the whole country's got to go out on like a toad hunt, you know, kind of like Hunger Games, but with toads, and try and kill as many as possible. I have no idea. Right. Thanks for the recommendation, you guys. That was really, really interesting. And I'm not laughing at the situation as if it's funny. Was more laughing at the actual video. It's actually a serious problem. So I hope you guys figure it out. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.